Thanks, Roberto. Hey, everybody. Super honored, what can I say, to be in your presence. So many amazing people are here today. So just to be able to be among you all is a big treat. I come to conferences in large part to be inspired. I could use a little inspiration once in a while, and certainly coming to this event, it's incredibly inspiring. So I want to share with you some other inspiring people. Let's see if we can make this happen. That's great. Here's the first person I want to introduce you to. This is Pradeep. Pradeep charges his cell phone with his solar panels. He bought the solar panels with micropayments. He makes those payments actually over his cell phone. Yeah, wild. Next up, if it's working. Have to try the next slide, mate. Can you advance for me? Oh, there we are. I'm not seeing it here. Okay, great. So next up, these are some friends of mine who are Maasai. They're very happy because they have light that doesn't make their eyes burn and doesn't make their children sick. These are solar grannies. They go all over India. If you can think like, what is it, like Tupperware party meets Facebook meets... And they sell solar lanterns to their friends and to their family, and most important for them probably is that they have a job, right? They can make a living at all of this, and that's, yeah, critical and important. These are some friends of mine from Darfur. They're very excited about this stove. It's lightweight. They can carry it wherever they go. It uses about 2/3 as much fuel as the other stoves in the past, so it means fuel savings and a lot of other things as well. This is Jampa. Jampa loves her new stove as well. She's especially excited because it means that she doesn't have to go way out into the woods as often as she did in the past, which is a long journey and it's hard and it's dangerous. She's very inspired, as you can see. This is Godfrey and Mohammed and Dennis, and they and all the villagers here are very inspired by the fact that their well works now. These folks, part of the Adventure Project, go from place to place and fix broken wells. And this is Anya. Anya's pretty inspired because she doesn't have to carry water on her head anymore. She can roll it from her water source to her village. Saves a lot of time and a lot of energy. And this couple is jumping up and down for joy because they're on a treadle pump. They don't have to use a diesel generator anymore, expensive, polluting. Now they can use their own human power to very efficiently irrigate more land than they could before, generating more income, feeding their family. These are just a few people that are inspiring to me that I've sort of discovered in the last 5 to 10 years as I went on a little bit of a search. And what I found are these incredible stories of people all over the planet that are pulling themselves up out of poverty and doing it in very ecologically sound ways. And that experience and all the collections of success stories, if you will, I'm now calling ecological handprints. Not footprints, handprints. This is beyond the footprint, right? Because it recognizes the value not only of reducing our impact on our biosphere, but on helping raise humanity and help people emerge from poverty. Collectively, that's their story, but they're us, right? We're talking about one planet living in a one planet perspective today. It gets really critical. Why is it important? Well, looking ahead, not everybody lives in Sonoma County, right? We should be reminded of where population is and what's happening in terms of population projections. I know it's kind of hard to see on the graph, but you all know this, right? 7 billion a few years ago. We're headed for 9. We're headed for 10. And they're not all here. They're in various places around the world. But you can see if we just took 100 people and said, where do they all live, that the vast majority are living in Asia and Africa, some 60 out of 100 being in Asia and another 13, 14 or so in Africa. So anyway, a lot of people, not all in Sonoma County, and they are in some other places around our planet predominantly. Now I want to get to this issue of poverty, and I thought I don't have time. The book that Robert mentioned, I'd go into water as well as energy. But just looking at energy for a minute, we got a couple of circles up here. And the different colors represent basically energy poverty. The brown circles here are lack of access to electricity. We'll come back to this in a minute. And the blue circles are a lack of access to basic clean cooking. So I want to roll into those a little bit in some more specific detail. But to say that the impacts of poverty and the impacts of energy poverty in particular directly and disproportionately affect women and children. We're talking about 1.3 billion people without access to electricity, like 2.5 or so billion people that don't have access to clean cooking technologies. So, yeah. All of this, I think, led E.O. Wilson to this perspective, famous biologist who said, the great challenge of the 21st century is to raise people everywhere to a decent standard of living, while preserving as much of the rest of life, the biosphere, as possible. So let's dig a little deeper into the lighting and energy just for a minute, and I'll move through this quickly. Much more gory detail can be found in the book, which I'll get to. But yeah, can we imagine 1.3 billion people that don't have access to electricity? I'm not sure we can. I try to think about it. It's like 4 times the population of the United States. How many people are in the U.S.? I can't really wrap my brain around that. Like 200 times the population of the 9-county Bay Area. Tonight, when the sun goes down, they're not flicking a switch, right? They're lighting lanterns, typically kerosene lanterns, sometimes paraffin wax or other, but predominantly kerosene lantern. Ever been around a kerosene lantern before? Some of you in the old days when camping, yeah, you know what it's all about. It's volatile, it's poisonous. If kids drink it, it's bad news, right? If it spills, it's bad news. It can burn people nearby, it can burn a house, it can burn a village. Of course, the air, that's the volatile chemicals that come off of that are nasty stuff for breathing and for eyes and everything else. But I promised I'd talk about inspiration a little bit. So let's do that. Let me tell you one of my favorite stories of success is about a group called the Solar Sisters. Make the next one go. There we are. These ladies are awesome. They really use social networking. Right? They go and sell lanterns to their friends and their family and everybody they know in their villages. And the cool thing is these solar lanterns replace the kerosene lanterns, and they make a payment the first month, roughly equivalent to what they previously paid for kerosene, and then the next month they pay a little bit less, so they're pocketing money along the way, and 6 months later they own the lamp. The lamp tips over, it doesn't burn down their village, the kids can be around it and breathe, and it's just fine. Folks in this dry goods store, for example, are very happy because at night their customers don't have to breathe soot. They can have their shop open later. These sub-Saharan women have brought lanterns to about 20,000 different individuals across sub-Saharan Africa, and it's expanding into other countries as well. These drone photos show kind of the next step, moving from lanterns to small grids, right? This is a community center that has a radio station powered by solar, and this drone photo shows a microgrid that's over a community health clinic that also functions as a school. So these amazing things are happening, being catalyzed all over the world. Very inspirational. One of the things that really led to solar lighting's starting to take off worldwide is the connection with mobile technology. Too much to explain right now, but pay-as-you-go, using your phones, and the ability to charge a cell phone in a remote locale and not have to drive a great distance to charge a phone, right? You get to begin to see the business opportunities that are there as well. That's Mr. Mobley, by the way, who makes a living charging phones with his solar system. All right, just briefly moving ahead to look at cooking and the impacts there. Cooking over an open fire kind of sounds romantic, but extremely polluting. Those of you who study climate change know the role of black carbon caused by cooking, a lot of it caused by cooking fires, cooking stoves as well, and of course the pollution in the local environment, not good. For who's around the stoves, and of course not good for our collective atmosphere as well. But again, there are opportunities. This gentleman I met in Ghana who looked at charcoal cooking there, and it developed a super low-cost stove, cost about $7 US. It uses about 2/3 as much charcoal as before, and so very quickly a big reduction in terms of pollution, financial savings for individuals, and jobs for people, lifting themselves out of poverty and lowering their ecological footprint at the same time. Here's another group. This is a Plancha Stove in Latin America. You know, all these stoves, all these lanterns, all these programs have to be locally based, locally focused, right? Local voices, local participation, local feedback, local research. It all starts there, as already mentioned, this conference, and then scales up. But here's a stove that's designed and built in a local community. You know, no carbon's better than low carbon. There are lots of examples of solar cooking technology. I've had a chance to introduce some to the Tibetan highlands and other people. So what's happening? I'd say there's a movement underway. There are gatherings of people in various places around the world, and they're up to some good. Just like this gathering today, I'd say there are like-minded visionaries and practitioners who are creating a new form of economy that's based both on ecological conditions and equitable conditions as well. They are leading the way to a very bright future that is positive and colorful and hopeful and vital. Thank you, Bill. I was so inspired by all these things I was learning. I was a garden variety environmental scientist traveling around a lot of places and saw all these stories of hope and inspiration. So I decided that I would do something to share those stories, and so I wrote a book. And I just finished it, as Robert mentioned. So I'm really happy to be able to share this with you. I got a team of great reviewers, 10 scientists and others that have helped me with the scientific content. I have a team of National Geographic Society photographers that have contributed their work to all of this, and we've gathered this all together to create this ebook, Ecological Handprints. It's breakthrough developments in the developing world, or breakthrough innovations, in the developing world. So something that's kind of cool for me is that it's a platform that the millennials can all enjoy. You know, wherever you are and whatever device you have, you're able to take a look at it. And I'm happy to say that I'm debuting it today. I just put it up last night, so yeah. So you can be among the first 10 people if you hurry. Yeah. So let me just say a couple of things more about the book. I think I skipped past well, no, here it is. Next one, sorry. Here's a quote from a colleague of mine who's been super supportive of my work. It's Desmond Tutu, who many of you, I'm sure, are aware of. And here's what he said. He said, like wheels on a suitcase, this approach offers successful remedies to a problem that has plagued us all for decades: the profound need for greater human and ecological well-being. By highlighting the wonderful array of integrated solutions that are rolling out all over the developing world, this book helps us to understand why this perspective is so critical, what inspirational efforts are already underway, how it is they actually succeed, and what lessons they offer to us all. Arch was very kind, wrote a foreword for the book, and yeah, it's been just a great supporter. So you can find the book and learn more about it at ecologicalhandprints.org. And I would like to conclude with this quote from Paul Hawken. He says, if you look at the science about what's happening in the earth and you aren't pessimistic, then you don't understand data. But if you meet the people who are working to restore this earth and the lives of the poor, and you aren't optimistic, you haven't got a pulse. I've met these people that are working to restore the earth and help themselves. Yeah, I've got a pulse. And I'm very optimistic. It's hard to say that sometimes in this world, but I've met so many people in so many places that are doing such profound work, beautiful ways of lifting themselves up, right, but respecting the planet and the place that we all live at the same time. I think it's a powerful and important model as we move forward in a perspective that, yeah, we should all embrace and celebrate and be inspired by. So, thank you very much. I'll be in the foyer right behind the reception table at the break. I'd love to hear your thoughts and perspectives and, yeah, to get to meet you all. So thank you for this opportunity.